Kanpai! Welcome.
Delicious virtual beer.
To episode 114 of Kanpai Cast. This episode is on character deaths in anime, how it handles them. But before we jump into the topic, we want to introduce the rest of the cast. I am joined today by my fellow hosts, the inestimable Xenogelion, Xenogelion's cat, and the equally unfathomable Nasuth. I'm the Thaylien. And
the unparalleled Thaylien. Only perpendicular Thaliens.
Nobody running in the same direction I am.
Yes, only perpendiculars.
Indeed. So, a little housekeeping before we start. So, if you would like to comment, subscribe, and join the Discord for regular chat, memes, a bit of an anime vibe, and all of the links are in the description. Xeno's streaming, Nasuth's Twitch, all of it. Come on and have a bit of fun with us. The next item is, if you've watched our news segment already, then you know we've added a new fact and rumour segment, and we want your help. Okay? Any rumours you find on the internet you want us to check out can be shared in our Discord, or even in the comments below, although that's less likely to be as easy to fact check. But we'll run through our tests to find the answer as to whether they are fact or rumour. And they'll be they'll be featured on the news next time we record that, and we will provide you answers directly in the Discord at the time, so you don't have to be mystified for too long. As soon as we get the answers back ourselves, you'll know them. So, I think that is it for our housekeeping this week. But today we are on to a rather deep topic, depending on the anime.
Well, no, I think that's actually a brilliant segue into it, right? So when it comes down to character deaths, I think that there is a huge, I want to say cornucopia. There's a huge spectrum of how it is perceived. You know,
Before we go further, can I just point out what Nath's actually put the title of this particular section as?
Yes.
In title.
Yes.
Alas, poor Yorika. I knew him well, Horatio.
Anyway.
Yes. Smell with Lumaji, because I'm a nerd.
Mm-hmm. Someone had too much time on their hands. But regardless, so there's this huge spectrum of how people perceive death of a character, and I think it's like really important that first off we discuss amongst ourselves how important death of a character is compared to skirting around the topic entirely, and we've got a brilliant example for that, which we'll come to later on. To me personally, death of a character is only as viable as it is permanent, right? You are able to... No, see, like, this is coming from someone that used to read Marvel comics, like, on the regular, where characters would die and then would just come back, like, 6 months later, right?
I want to push back on that. I don't think it's a problem to bring them back. I think it's how casually you bring them back. If it's super easy to bring them back, that's a problem. But if you have to actually go through some struggles and maybe sacrifice something of yourself, and you know, there's a price to be paid, that sort of thing, I'm more okay with that. Because it's serving a greater story in that case. And it doesn't just become cheap.
So I remember, and this is, I think this really highlights to how cheap it can be. So there was a brilliant game made by Raven Software called Marvel Ultimate Alliance. The idea is that you were playing a series of characters across all of the Marvel universe. So X-Men characters, Spider-Man, the Avengers, you name it, they were in there. Even Deadpool was in there, right? And at one point in time, you have to make a choice. You either have to sacrifice Jean Grey, or you have to sacrifice Nightcrawler. Yeah? And one was the right answer, one was the bad answer. Now, considering in my team I had, I can't remember if it was Cyclops or Wolverine, I opted to choose to save Jean Grey. That was apparently the wrong answer. Because if you chose Nightcrawler, Jean Grey would die and then resurrect as Phoenix.
Oh my god.
Right? Exactly. That's the problem I have with this. If you're able to bring back characters, even in a difficult manner, at some point in time it will become trivialized, right?
Okay.
And then
yes, if you keep doing it, yeah, I 100% agree. But that adds to that becomes the cheapening of it. If it's just once, I don't necessarily see a problem with it.
But even so,
a little bit with Nasuth on this one, because if it's a plot point of the situation to be an actual journey to get back the other person, even if they don't know that that's what they're doing at the time, then that actually works into the story, and it doesn't mean it's cheap.
I have a brilliant example for this, right? If you will, my example for this is that's right, you guessed it, Dragon Ball Z. Right?
Oh, that's because that's one where it's super easy to do it. It becomes super trivial.
That's the point, though, right? So initially, the Shenron, right, the Dragon of Earth, could only resurrect someone once, right?
And there was also the limit of it had to be an unnatural death, such as being killed. Natural
right?
deaths,
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Were not,
and that was okay. And that was kind of okay.
Right. That was kind of okay. But then the whole thing with, oh no, we gotta go to Namek and get the Namek Dragon Balls, and then then we can resurrect them again because the Namek Dragon is a stronger dragon, and it was just...
Oh, just as a point before there's any confusion there. The reason I went to Namek to get the Namek Dragon Balls wasn't because of the multi-res.
It's because Popo. It's because not Popo.
Because
Piccolo.
Kami died.
Kami died, yeah.
Piccolo and Kami died. So they didn't have Dragon Balls anymore, so they had to go find the source of them.
Yeah.
The multi-res thing was just kind of like a get-out-of-jail-free card for Toriyama to write in and have
Goku come back again.
Have Goku come
well,
back
no.
after...
Because remember, he wanted... Well, no, because he didn't die on Namek, remember?
No, he was supposed to have.
No, but he didn't. He didn't. No, because he went away and learned into the transmission. Shenron specifically said, "I can't bring that one. I can't bring that one back."
Not that.
That was no.
So the idea is, just before all the characters are brought back to life that Frieza kills, Goku dies again. Right?
He's supposed. I mean, maybe he's supposed to, but
yeah. But it's so ambiguous, like, did he... Yeah. But then instantly he comes back because, hey, he was... Yeah, you get the idea. But that's the whole point. It cheapens it. Cheapens it, right? You have one get-out-of-jail-free card for everyone, and then it's like, oh no, everyone can have as many get-out-of-jail-free cards as they want.
But I actually have an example where permadeath is also super cheap. So I can show you an example of the other way. So let's talk about Death Note real fast. We should probably say up front here, lots of spoilers in this episode, almost certainly, because we're talking about big important character death moments, right?
For nothing current though. There is something I wanted to talk about, but I opted not to.
Yes,
so there we go.
Yes. So in Death Note, right? We're not talking about Light's death. We're talking about L's death. They kill L, and then just immediately bring in a clone of L. And so that death means nothing.
I get where
This is an Aladdin the Paladin moment, if you're familiar with the story.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Aladdin the Paladin was a D&D nightmare story shared around the internet for quite a while, where one character created Aladdin the Paladin and was genuinely just the main character syndrome all through and through. And when he legitimately died in the campaign, rather than give up on it, he rolled up Saladin the Paladin, who was an exact clone of Aladdin the Paladin, to come and take over his twin brother's journey.
Yes, it's essentially that, because El is the only one who's so far stood a chance against Light, in the brains department. And the moment that he takes out his biggest competition, they just drop in this other person that you've never heard of, who apparently is just as talented as El. Why haven't they been doing any of, we're helping out on this beforehand? Who knows? I personally think it's because they just didn't exist until the writer needed them to. Because they wrote themselves into a corner with killing El.
Well, I think that's a large part of the problem. It's like, so it's how death is handled in the source material, right? How is it used? How is it handled? So on and so forth, right? And we've pointed out 2 here where it's particularly cheap. With Death Note, I
usually
feel
because the author has written themselves into a corner, it seems like.
Well, no, I'd argue with Death Note, certainly it's because the author has written themselves into a corner. But with Dragon Ball Z, it feels like strong character needs to get stronger and, just go on different adventures. And death isn't the end. Death is just another part of the journey. Whereas with Death Note, death is the end. Right? So it feels like that way inclined. Does that make sense?
Oh, I see. So you're saying even without the Dragon Balls being able to resurrect people, death is kind of cheap because of the other world that they can go to, where Goku continues to learn to get to train and get stronger, and
I don't think it's cheap because of the rest of the journey post dying, right? But I think it's cheapened by the fact that they can, the death is just a carousel door,
a
rotary
vacation,
door,
temporary vacation.
Yeah, exactly, right. That's what cheapens that. The problem with Death Note is quite clearly the author was just like, well, shit, what direction am I supposed to go in now? I don't know where to go from here, right? And to me, it's just like, you need to think harder about this. I mean, my thoughts on Death Note. I don't think highly of Death Note in the slightest, right? I don't think it's well written. You get the idea. So my question to both of you is, where do you stand when it comes to death of a character?
Do you want to go first, Nasuth, or shall I?
Well, I've been talking for a bit here. If you wanna have a chance.
Well, my standing on death of a character is whether it has meaning to the other characters specifically, because all good stories, regardless of whether they're anime, comic book, whatever, matter more if the character interactions are good. If the character interactions are solidly written and evoke emotions, whether positive, negative, whatever. Like these two here, Rudy and the demon are genuinely not going to get along ever because wrong personalities. But the interaction between them is fun to watch. It's well done.
Yeah.
So with character death, it has to make the other characters actually feel something.
Sorry.
With Death Note, you had the problem of they replaced him with somebody just.
It was such a good triumphant moment for Light, and then they just undercut it.
Yeah. So all of the other characters that were not Light just basically went, "Oh no!" Anyway.
Yeah.
And a good one to talk about, I think, in this respect, is a show that actually has the cycle of death and rebirth and life and death actually planned out in the story, and that is, funnily enough, Bleach.
Oh, I thought you were going to say ReZero.
So, no. Because Bleach is a story about a character who becomes a Shinigami, a death god, in a world where there are two dedicated sides to existence. A material world where people have, physical bodies and live out lives in a normal world, and another world, which they call Soul Society. It's just death, basically, where everything is made up of spirit particles, including the people there, and souls transfer between the two. As you live out a life in one, it builds up the ability to go to the other. And the little interactions along the way are when that process doesn't go smoothly. But in this, death has actually got some meaning, because all of the normal characters, not the main characters who can see the dead and go swap between the worlds, all of the regular people experience death as we do in our world. So when they die, they die. And it's only because of the fantastical nature that sometimes, actual lingering regrets can hold them to this world. And if they hold on for too long, they become a monster. And in both cases, the Shinigami are there to actually send them on. If they become a monster, they cut them down and they're purified that way. If they are still a spirit, they are stamped with a seal by the Shinigami, which passes them on to the other life. There are whole episodes dedicated in this show to when you should, whether it's morally right to fulfill those lingering regrets, or whether it's morally right to just go on and, stamp them on the forehead and send them on the direct way. And in each of these cases, it actually means something to the character themselves and to the people around them when they go.
I feel that there's quite a bit of what feels like disrespect when it comes to character deaths in Bleach, only because characters are forcibly sent to Soul Society. Yes. The spirits of characters, they don't have a choice. They're more treated as a...
Well, that's exactly what I mean. There's whole episodes about that happening.
Yeah.
Whether it's better to actually fulfill their desires and let them pass on naturally, or stamp them on the head and just send them. Okay? There's an actual meaning to that, and they do address it in the early...
I think even this... Sorry. Even the one that's been scrolling in the back saying, I just repopulated the Bleach episodes. So I got some from images, the first, images from the first 3 episodes. And even in that one, you can see this spirit that was attacking them. I don't think it's this one on screen right now, but there was one that was attacking them. And as far as I could tell, because I wasn't really watching it, I was just scanning through it.
Yes.
They end up helping it to realize who it really is, because it's been it's all dark and angry now, and so rather than so rather than just killing it and sending it on, they make him realize who he is, and he chooses to go.
Yes.
So I can kind of see where you're coming from.
This
guy right here.
It's this one, yeah.
Yeah.
Part of the problem I have with this is, I suppose, the finality with the decisions, because it's a case of if you corrupt into a hollow, right, there's no going back. And a part of me feels like, well, why is there no going back, right? What part of it? So there's another series that deals with this, if you don't mind me pivoting.
Yes, save us before I get to the absolute best character death ever. Let's save that for later.
No, I'm just trying to find it. It's Noragami. So in Noragami, it shares a lot of similarities with Bleach. And effectively, the the world can, it has the deity side of things, but it can, the world can be corrupted quite easily, and a lot of it comes down to greed. It's the 7 deadly sins. So if as a spirit you start indulging in the 7 deadly sins, you as a spirit gets corrupted, right? And you get corrupted to the point of you just want to instill chaos and things like this, right? So you effectively can become a full-blown hollow, right? But the great thing is there is a method of actually cleansing, right? Where you omit the mistakes you did, you omit the things you did, and you can basically come back, you can be redeemed, right? That is something that I really like about Noragami that Bleach doesn't have, and I kind of wish Bleach did have, because it makes it feel a lot less final,
See, but that's where I would do this, because in that respect, you've got spirits. They are going to linger, they're designed to stay around. But in the world of Bleach, the balance of their world relies on the transfer of souls from one side or the other to maintain balance. There must be the right amount of souls on either side, or their world starts to slip and slide.
Yeah.
It gives birth to the places that we see in the show, like the world of the actual hollows themselves, where the Arankar as an enemy are. They that whole area forms in the gap between the two worlds because of an imbalance that's caused back in history.
It becomes a case of, like, yes, they might be forcing some of these souls to go over to the other side, but
yes,
is it better to do that, or is it better to respect the souls and let them stay, do what they want to do, and in the process potentially lose the world, sort of thing? What is it okay to sacrifice some for the greater good? I think that's a question that they're not actually going to ask, though, are they? Yeah.
I think the important thing is it's not a sacrifice. It's just moving from one place to the next. So you move on. You never actually, in this world, you do die. That is it. But your soul.
But you never cease to exist.
Else,
okay.
And you start a new life as a new person.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So every member of Soul Society was a human at one point, and every human was a member of Soul Society at one point. But they just don't. All things that made them the person were kind of cleansed from them in order to go back and forth.
So it's a constant tumble dryer. Got it.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. It's a process. It's a flowing thing of them.
But there's a flaw with this, though, because like when they become hollows, they can't become normal spirits again.
They can. That's exactly what I said. The cutting them with the sword.
Yeah.
Is what cleanses them and sends their soul back to Soul Society as a normal person. So they become mindless as hollows, but by cutting them with the Shinigami sword, the actual
it dispels the dark energy and
yes, it cleanses them and sends them on.
Okay.
Right.
The stamp does.
Okay.
So both cases, the Zanpakuto is sending the spirit to Soul Society.
It's sort of like in Mononogatari, where when they cleanse the cursed objects, it sends their spirit back to the other side.
Yes. I'll give you a really good point on this one for Bleach in that respect. I said that the place that the Hollows live, the separate world, was caused by a great imbalance. It's because of the Quincy, Urio Ishida's people.
Yeah.
When they kill a Hollow, it permanently kills the soul.
Yeah.
That was what the original war between the Shinigami and the Quincy's, and why the Quincy's were wiped out, was because the Quincy's were just straight up killing souls without letting them go back to Soul Society.
Which is actually diminishing the world as a whole.
Yes, that imbalance caused that gap to open up between the worlds, and was why the Shinigami killed the Quincy.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I really like that as a premise and everything, but I hate the fact that it's taken, I don't know how many episodes. So when did this get revealed? Is it in the 1,000-Year Blood War?
No, this was towards the end of the first Soul Society arc, when Ishida confronted the mad scientist one, whatever his name is.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't remember him.
Yeah,
okay.
He does because when he said
Time to rewatch Bleach.
The mad scientist guy he had done his research on Quincy's. He had dissected them. He had done all these things. He was tormenting Uryu by saying, every single one of the Quincy's I've ever met has said, on my honor as a Quincy, I will not do this or do that. And
Okay.
every single one of them caved in the end because of what I did to them. And it was meant as torture to Uryu, but it is revealed that
I think I'd like to get us
did kill the Quincy because of that.
a little bit back on topic and ask Xeno, does knowing this information now revise your opinion on deaths in Bleach at all?
In all honesty, it kind of does, but I hate the fact that it takes so long for that information to come about. Like, it's like... Because it kind of gives more motivation to the fact that, like, why are the Shinigami going around murdering the Hollows? Why aren't they, it feels very villain of the month to begin with. Villain of the month? Villain of the week. And it's not until, like, proper purpose is given, I would say, it's around when, Ishida and Ichigo have the hollow killing contest. Yeah. It's so we're talking about episode 15-ish, but it's a Shonen Jump. It's designed to like drag it the fuck out.
On that respect, though, it is. I think this is the downside of having the story planned out the way Kubo did, because Kubo actually did plan out the story ahead of time, so he's revealing things when they're relevant, and not to keep the people in the story informed.
Yeah.
So he did write this whole thing with the intent that all of this would come out, and events of the 1,000 Year Blood War were in fact, peppered in to the story beforehand. But of course, you're right. We, the audience, didn't get to find out about them until 2 seasons, 3 seasons into the show,
and that can sometimes be too long. Yeah.
So we've talked about my point of view. We've talked about Thaylien's point of view. Nasuth, do you have a point of view that you want to discuss?
Not see my it's so complicated because sometimes it's I was thinking of going on a different path because I have a question in my own mind that I'm trying to resolve. Between something like Gurren Lagann, where you really only have the one major character death and everyone else is more or less protected by plot armor. Is that death still impactful? Or is it better to have something like Attack on Titan, where death is ever present and characters that they build up will sometimes die? Obviously our main 3 have been pretty safe for the show, but like they will build up other characters and then kill them. Does that make it more impactful than something where like only 1 or 2 characters die?
Well, I gotta say, sticking with the Attack on Titan thing, like I fully respect Attack on Titan, much like this is what I respect of the likes of Games of Thrones. I'm not going to go into that. But the big thing about Attack on Titan is quite early on in the first season, spoilers, right. Really early on in the first season of Attack on Titan, you end up having what you believe is Eren dying, right? And you're just like, holy shit, you actually get this sense of anyone can die at a moment's notice, right?
Yeah.
It works so well. It is so impactful, right? And I personally feel that Attack on Titan treats death with the potentially some of the best respect. No, some of the best respect that it can, because anyone can die.
Yeah.
Right? And
that's what it feels
it's
like.
How
it feels like
be.
Death is actually a problem, a worry for everyone in this world, and they have to be clever, and they have to be brave, and maybe just a little bit lucky. And they don't just have plot armor, even though our main three have survived basically the whole thing.
Yeah, like
insane amounts.
We can argue the same thing for 86, to some extent Berserk, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about Berserk, but nobody really dies up until the end that we care about, that we know and care about. But it does still feel like death is ever present and a worry that they have to consider.
But talking about Gurren Lagann, like it kind of felt like, again, spoilers. It kind of felt that when Kamina does die, right, he does so in such a middle finger to the world way, right?
A very common way.
Again, in a very common way, right? But again, his death was so impactful to Simon, right? I refuse to call him the wrong name. It was so impactful. Shut up, right? What you call it? It was so impactful to Simon. Simon basically shut down, right? He couldn't do anything, right? He was just, depressed. I think we had like an entire episode or two of Simon doing nothing. And like, in all honesty, I hate those episodes because it just feels like, get on with the plot. But in hindsight, those are some of the most important episodes to have, because no one would just pick up and go like that.
Nobody.
Right? Nobody. Yeah. Except for the characters in Dragon Ball, where it's just like, oh, we'll just bring it back, it's so fun. Yes, no one's truly gone.
Oh. It was the parody of Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z abridged with Cell Saga, Trunks' death, and they parodied it with Vegeta yelling, "My baby boy," and then afterwards they said, "Oh, and by the way, Vegeta, Dragon Balls."
Yeah, I can think of another example.
Yeah, I know.
I can think of another example where characters just went on after the death happened. Can you think of what I'm thinking of? Can you think of what I'm thinking of?
Okay. So I saw you hovering over it, right? But okay, so the problem with Rising of the Shield Hero though, is that season 2 was so poorly delivered.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not going to go into
meant to have impact, but just doesn't.
Like, I'm not going to go into spoilers for season 3. I refuse to. But season 3 has done so much better in terms of delivery. Although the animation of the last episode was like, what?
Oh my god! Oh, you're telling me?
Yeah, it's like, but I'm glad I wasn't the only one that noticed that. But anyway,
I didn't really catch those because I'm usually having to focus on the subtitles. But it even got to me, and I'm like, Anyway.
But the whole thing of a character death, it is only impactful if you have any form of tie to that character, right? It only works if you have feeling for them,
or potentially if you see something like a massive disaster that obliterates an entire city. You don't have to know those people. It's still a bunch of deaths. And that can have an impact. It could be like, oh, well, this is a massive threat. What are we going to do about this? But it's not the same thing. But by any means, that's not really what we're talking about. I just kind of wanted to point out you could have death that is equally impactful without ever knowing them.
Okay, so we're gonna touch upon this, and then I'm gonna bring up One Piece, right?
Okay, all right.
So the biggest problem with Shield Hero Season 2 is the fact that you have Ost, who is delivered as such a main character, but has no time spent on them, right? I'm sorry, but whoever wrote the screenplay or the direct, the direction that was involved, it killed it because you had no context to who the fuck Ost truly was, right? And it sucks because effectively this character turns up and is like, I'm a really important main character. How much screen time do you get? Maybe 5 minutes? Okay, I die now!
And the shield hero is supposed to be super depressed about it for some reason that we never see.
Some reason.
You know
because
that people die when they're killed.
I nearly put fate in here, but anyway. But again, it's like you can't incite a reaction in the audience if you don't spend any time with that character, right?
Yeah.
If that character doesn't seem to mean anything to the other characters around them.
No, I argue that because, like, imagine who had Piccolo's death, right? Mm-hmm. From the Saiyan Saga, right? You had Piccolo's death in the Saiyan Saga where he's protecting Gohan, right?
Yes.
Imagine how poignant that would be if all we had of Piccolo was Piccolo and Goku fighting Raditz. Piccolo takes Gohan away, drops off Gohan, and then we don't see him until the Saiyan fight, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We never see him keeping an eye on Gohan. We never see him learning to actually like this little Saiyan brat.
Oh.
It still would have meant a little something. It wouldn't have been completely meaningless if we saw him do the noble sacrifice thing after that time. That still has the potential to be a little bit meaningful.
More than we got
to defend the child.
Yeah,
right.
More than we got from. But we're talking about the other characters reacting to it. I think specifically at this point.
But
so
I don't think that you can have one without the other. Okay, you need to have the audience feel it.
Yes.
And you need to have the other characters feel it.
Because, like, in this one, they tell you that the audience is supposed to
nothing to the characters.
Yes.
Then it doesn't matter how much the audience feels because it cheapens it by the other characters not caring.
No,
like
I'm arguing the toss.
Even if we've gotten more character building for Ost, the fact that Shield Hero drops it immediately as soon as they're in the other world, and he's now having to worry about other things. There's no time for them to reflect on her death either, and so that cheapens it even further.
No, wait, don't they do it when they come back though?
Not really.
No, I agree with you. Right? They could have been like
the same as in the moment.
Right, but the whole point is that they didn't have time to do it in the moment. They had to, like, immediately afterwards go fight. They had to go through the portal. There was no time to do it. So I appreciate where you're coming from. They needed an epilogue episode, right? They needed an episode where
I think there was time once they got through the portal to still deal with it, and they just never did.
I suppose.
Or at least have the characters having more trouble dealing with what they were facing. Because they were constantly being distracted by the death of somebody they're supposed to care for.
But the whole point I was trying to make was Piccolo's sacrifice means something because we got a lot of time with Piccolo, right?
Developing his character, yes.
Yes. We would have forgiven the reaction of Naofumi more if we got more time with Ost. Right?
Yes.
If we, the audience, got more time with Ost, right?
But supposedly he had a lot of time with her, in theory.
And that's the problem. It's a tell, don't show problem. It needs to be the other way around. Show, don't tell.
Yeah,
right?
You've really got to have that groundwork there for the audience.
Yeah, so if Piccolo was to die without that groundwork for the audience, right? Gohan's reaction would be like, you're being overdramatic. What the fuck is wrong with you? Right? Why are you being so needy? The guy just ditched you in a field. But regardless of all of this stuff.
Yes, you had another direction you want to take us with, I think, One Piece, yeah?
Yes, One Piece. Right, now, Thaylien may know the direction that I want to take this in.
The first bit, yes. But I've got to talk later.
So with One Piece, there is the infamous character Zoro, right? I think he still wields 3 swords. And one of the swords has a white hilt. Now, this is a localization issue. The character that white sword belonged to was an old senpai of Zoro, who... Yeah, best friend and rival. So Zoro would go around with 2 katanas and just destroy dojos, right? Just utterly kick the crap out of them, until he came across this one dojo where his rival, would-be rival, ends up kicking his ass, right? And he keeps challenging her.
Just one sword, and
yes,
she's a girl.
Yes, yeah. And the misogyny. The
misogyny is implied by the people training them.
Yes.
Zoro just sees her as his rival and doesn't care.
Oh yeah, that's a fair point actually.
You can see here there's one of the black hilts and then there's the white hilt. So you can
yeah. So he's kicking ass. He gets his ass kicked and he constantly challenges her. And in the English dub, the idea is that she leaves him the sword and she has to go away training, right? She leaves and comes back at some point in time, right? What actually happens is that she is ill, right? Yes. She has like a congenitive issue, and eventually she falls down a flight of stairs and breaks her neck, right? As a child, right? But that is not there in the English dub, right? I remember... Yep, I remember years and years and years ago, like the first anime convention I ever went to, this topic of conversation came up, and they were like, oh, what is so-and-so going to think about her sword? And it's like, what? It's like, the fact that Zoro is... just been biting on her sword hilt the entire time. And it's like...
she's dead,
what are you talking about? Right. Well, this... I'm not kidding. This makes me out to be such a monster. But, I said, why is this in one... Why does this say One Piece? This is Death, though, isn't it?
Did I accidentally save? I might have accidentally saved some files there.
Anyway.
I'll go check while you talk.
Anyway, oh shit, what were we talking about? Yeah, so, she says this, it's like, when she comes back from her training, she's going to want her sword back. It's like, what do you mean come back? She's dead. The mortified look on this girl's face was just like,
oh, yeah.
Holy shit, like, yeah.
Do you know what? I remember this specifically because somebody did a dive back on 4Kids stuff.
What is that?
They actually redubbed in one of the scenes that... was earlier, where she has an injured
99.
She has an injured arm and it's in a sling.
Yeah.
And so they redub that to say that she injured her arm when she fell, not broke her neck. And she was going away to heal and train under another thing while she rehabilitated.
Right.
And so that was it. That was she broke her arm and had to go away to heal up and retrain. And so she gave him a sword. And I'm like, what? I looked at that difference. Because by the time I went back and watched it rather than reading the manga, I thought, hang on, I remember this. She died.
Yeah.
They had a photo of her with the black arches on that they always do.
What did they say in the live action one? Did they do it right? I can't remember.
She did, in fact, die in the live action, but they didn't actually tell the audience how she died.
Okay.
So,
but yeah,
thing of
close
she
enough.
Did die, and he took her sword as a way to honor.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So I feel like there's such importance behind this because, why is it right to shelter kids from death like this? The demographic for Japan and America for One Piece is the same, right? Yet in Japan they don't shy away from, bloody scenes or.
They didn't used to here either. There's the old meme about, if you grew up in the 80s, you saw more horrible things as a kid in cartoons than they sometimes put today in, R-rated movies.
Just Tom and Jerry cartoons alone show more stuff than you would believe when you stop back and look at it.
So, there was a time when they didn't shy away from that sort of thing, but I don't know.
No. In specific groups that decided that kids shouldn't be exposed to these things, and unfortunately they got hold of something that became a beloved cartoon for many. But I will counter that with the other death that is very key to the series.
Go on.
That 4Kids didn't get a hold of because 4Kids didn't exist then, which is Podcast D Ace. And his
that's Luffy's brother?
Yeah, his adoptive brother.
Yeah.
The son, funnily enough, of Gold Roger. And
also, can I say, after going back and getting these images, I will never complain about how washed out the live action version looks anymore. It was very rough in the early days.
It was. So when the big problems at Marineford happened, it's because Portgas has been, or Ace, just call him Ace, has been captured by the Navy and is going to be executed. And of course, his crew, Luffy's crew, everyone comes to make a big stinker of the matter at Marineford and hold a big battle. Everyone's involved, even Whitebeard, Portgas's own captain, the last surviving rival of Gold Roger, arrives and is himself killed in the battle. But Ace is one of those characters that you think, this is the guy with plot armor, and his death is dramatic, violent, and has a resounding impact on the crew, on Luffy and his crew, to the point where, you see that scar that Luffy's got right there now, that's post. It's because they decided that they would not take this situation lightly. They would, in fact, carry on and train. So when they all reached the red line, the halfway point of the Grand Line, and were separated, it's because of Ace's death that Luffy decided that no, they would actually take 2 more years to train individually, and then reconvene back at the Red Line to form up the crew again. And he even communicates this message to his crew by going with one of the other senior pirates to Marineford and gets photographed, paying his respects to the deaths at that battle, with a fake tattoo on his arm that reconvenes the crew read and reconvene at the 2-year mark instead of a 2 weeks mark. It's a massive blow to the characters, and even has followed through events, because once a devil fruit user dies, their fruit actually regrows somewhere in the world. And one of the later arcs is Luffy hearing that Ace's fruit has been found and is the prize at a Colosseum tournament. And he then goes to try and secure it. It actually ends up with Ace's other adoptive brother, the guy from the Revolutionary Army.
But does that sequence have a whole emotional callback to the death of Ace?
It does, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Wait. Hold on.
So there were 3 adoptive brothers. Ace, Luffy,
Ace, Monkey, and
So wait, who adopted them? Who adopted them?
They adopted each other. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought it was a case of right.
I didn't.
That's who
Okay.
they were all adopted by, because Garp felt responsible for Roger's son. Luffy is actually his grandson, and the
Wait. Luffy's Roger's grandson?
No, Luffy's
Garp's
Garp's grandson. Yes.
Sorry,
the
you
son
both
of-
spoke at the same time. Say that again.
Luffy is Garp's grandson. Garp's son is Monkey D. Dragon, the leader of the Great Revolutionary Army.
Okay.
Which is where the other adoptive brother ended up. So you had the son of Gold Roger became a pirate, so the son of Dragon, and then their brother became the second in command.
What is it with all these people having D's as their middle initial?
That's a plot point.
I'm sure.
That's a plot point.
Nasuth.
Anybody with the initial D actually has a role to play in history, apparently.
When you said initial D, all I could hear was the music in my head. Yeah.
It's even worse with being Port Gas D Ace.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, even so, like, I know Ace's death, like, really resonates through the fan base, because I remember being messaged by a non-zero number of friends who were watching One Piece, and so I was like, oh my god, I can't believe what happens. It's just like, I don't know who the fuck you're talking about.
Great thing is it's even called back in the latest arc.
Yes.
Is that when one of the characters they meet in the Wano arc is the son of the of Kaido, one of the four emperors, and this guy wants to be the new or take on the name of the old shogun, and the reason that they are still so proud of it is because they ran into Ace when they were younger, and were great friends for the short time that Ace was in the country. And Ace is the reason why this particular character was so rebellious against their father. So it's the character resonates throughout the rest of the show. And I'm going to be honest, Ace was just a fucking cool character in and of himself.
Okay,
Really
so
was.
that's a good counter to your point on Bleach, but I think your point still stands. So it because of the show that's run for so long, obviously it's and a manga that's gone for so long, it's going to evolve a little bit as it goes, and things are going to be handled differently in certain places than they were early on. So I think that's. I think
you
fair.
also mean One Piece, not Bleach, but yeah.
Yeah, sorry, One Piece. Well, Bleach too, but One Piece. So I think that's a good example of how it evolved and matured, and also didn't have 4 kids interference.
Okay, is there any direction you want to go in, Nasuth? Because I do have 2 more I want to talk about.
You go first, and then if there's any time left, I don't think I have anything in particular, so if there's any time left, we'll just fill it with stuff.
Okay, there's going to be time left, right. But to me, it, like, Mobile Suit Gundam, Witch from Mercury, is a story of undoing a death, right? In a world where Dragon Balls don't exist.
Not being able to accept a death, I think, is a better way to phrase it.
Yeah, exactly. Not being able to accept the death and doing anything in their power to transcend death, right? So the big thing here is that we have Soletta's mum, who I can't remember the name of, are would-be Zex Marquis or Char Aznavour character who is going above and beyond to undo the death of her firstborn, Eri, right? And to me, this, like, watching the second half of the series really screams to me the duality of the whole thing, right? It wasn't a case of we have good guys and bad guys. Everyone's the good guy in their own story, right? And we really saw the narrative of Soletta's mum seeing herself as the good guy solely to bring Eri back to life. And I think that is incredible. I think it's a brilliant portrayal. It's a brilliant motivator.
It's a case of the road to hell is paved with the best of intentions, because her intentions, in theory, are good, aside from the revenge aspect. If we ignore the revenge aspect, I think that kind of came later. I think her initial goal was to bring Eri back, and then the revenge aspect kind of festered as she went. But even then, her path to bringing Eri back is not a good one.
Yeah, and another side of it is the fact that, Eri's on board with all the stuff that, her mum tells her to do, right? Soletta's on board with everything.
I would ask, is that even really Eri at this point? But that's
exactly, right? It does become a case of, the both characters effectively have lost their free will, due to, I don't know, mental conditioning or what. I feel like Eri's problem is the fact that she's not developed as a human being.
I think it's also
they're stuck at that age.
I think there's also something to be said that the mother's so she's so unwilling to accept the death that even if it's not really Eri, she refuses to see that. She refuses to admit that, just sort of the same way she refuses to admit that she's dead, right?
Yeah.
And so, even if it's not the real Eri, she'll just say it is, because she's so desperate.
Yeah, and it's okay, she does want revenge for basically everything Earth did, or the corporate space colony empire. Yeah, sure. But the amazing thing here is the fact that this one character just couldn't let it go, right, and would do anything. And
all of her actions are informed by that. Whereas in other characters you don't always necessarily see that. All of her actions are informed by this one death, and it's kind of amazing.
And I think, no, it's not a death, it's a sacrifice, right? Because basically they're building I think they build Ariel off of Lilith, which is the first Gundam that they make in the prologue. But it's so Eri basically bonds to Lilith to make Ariel, and that's when you see Soletta fighting using Caliban. I think I want to say it's Caliban with an N, but it's not. It's Caliban with an M. And Soletta is basically putting her own life on the... This is when Soletta finally has control of her own destiny. She's been thrown to the side by Eri and her mum, and eventually, she snaps out of it, and just yep, I'm doing what is right. I'm doing this to save both of them. And again, it's just absolutely incredible as a narrative, as a driving factor for a story point.
You can accept what her mother couldn't. And it's she learns that she has a sister, right? And then has to come to terms with sacrificing that sister because it's the right thing to do. And it's she actually goes beyond her mother because she can do this. She can make that decision.
Now, I know basically a huge driving factor for Char is the assassination of his own father, right? In Gundam The Origin, which is a brilliant series of movies. Is it movies? I feel it's movies. They're an hour long each, aren't they?
I think
everyone.
So, yeah.
Everyone. So don't watch Gundam Origins, watch Gundam The Origin, which is like a prequel to the whole war and everything. And it's like death is a huge motivator, and again, it's brilliant to see it from the side of, you know, there's no good guys, there's no bad guys, there's just victims of war. And
that one's like that one's a Duke Ferdinand situation, isn't it? Sort of thing.
I don't think so. Why are you saying that?
Well, so the assassination of Duke Ferdinand is widely regarded as the start of World War One.
Yeah,
and it's a case where the death of one person set off an entire. Isn't that kind of what happened with Gundam? Is Char's father?
If you're thinking it that broadly, then yes. But the big thing is that it was an internal assassination. So, but made out to be the Earth Federation, committing war crimes and things like this. It was a case of like a coup d'etat disguised as an assassination.
But there's also, I wouldn't go too far on the Archduke Ferdinand angle, because there's quite a lot of other things that have come out over time that were actual causes of World War II. One and two. It's the whole thing with the way they actually progressed all of it. There's a lot more involved.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really just one thing that sparked that. So in fact, you could say it's more of a Gundam thing.
Yeah.
You've got that aspect of one person was killed, and yet there's all these underlying things that actually gave the real.
Right.
I don't know how often that does appear in Gundam though, because I know it. Don't think it appears in Gundam Wing. I don't think it appears in 00. It definitely doesn't appear in
Thunderbolt.
Iron-Blooded Orphans. So, like the whole precursor to the motivation of our Char Aznable character. I mean, like, to be fair, right? Soletta's mum. I really feel bad. I can't remember her name. Soletta's mum is a closer Char Aznable than any of the Chars from 00 or
Prospera.
Yeah, Prospera.
Wait, is that right?
Yeah, Prospera.
Yeah,
that is her name. Or the assumed alias that she goes by.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So she's more of a Char than either the character from 00 or Iron-Blooded Orphans. Yeah. I would say Zex does do a good Char, but again,
but he doesn't have the same sort of motivations. He's fighting for real peace.
Oh God! Don't. He's gonna enforce pacifism by dropping an asteroid on them.
Yeah.
Anyway, right. The other side of this I wanted to talk about.
The true peace is real.
Oh God.
The other side of this I wanted to talk about was 86. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 86 is a brilliant way of, again, looking at war from a different angle. So, the whole point is that the fascist regime from World War II basically wins, right? That's the easiest way I can say this, and hope that
and you'll see a lot of fascist symbology in their uniforms and stuff too. Yep.
Yes, but the whole point is that you have 86 sectors of this country that we're going to call not Germany, right? And within not Germany, you have basically two races. No, you don't have two races. You have one race that are definitely deemed human, and then every other race is deemed not human, right? And these people are effectively treated as processors, right? So in this war against not Russia, who have built an AI-based war machine, right? You know, like all these drones and things. not Germany has to fight back, and they fight back with their own autonomous war machines, but they're not autonomous. They actually have people piloting them that have been dehumanized.
Yep.
Right? And it's really interesting watching this, seeing like the propaganda going behind it, basically saying that there's nothing wrong with our machines. Our machines are perfectly fine, right? But they're not machines. They call the pilots processors, right? Because they just refuse to. And there are very few individuals within not Germany that actually know the truth. And these are the handlers, right? The handlers that basically sit on comms and instruct them on how to actually engage in combat and things.
That suddenly made... So I was watching... again, gathering images. There's a scene where our main character is sitting in front of her computer, and all of a sudden she sees one of the lights blink out. And I didn't realize exactly what was going on there. Now it makes... So her reaction makes a lot more sense. Like, oh, that's not just a machine that went offline. That's a person.
That's a person.
And she knows it.
Yeah. Yes, but whenever she tries to actually bring it about, like, you know, they're not autonomous. They're piloted by people. She's shut down, right? She gives lectures. She gives lectures to the class and saying, like, you know, this is what's happening. It's like, nope, shut down. They just shut her down, and it sucks.
Considered people.
Yeah, they're not considered. Yeah. Well, not only that, but they don't want to instill.
They don't want that information spreading because other people might start considering them to be people, and then they have a problem.
Yeah, and it's really, really interesting because again, very strong similarities to World War II. How the processors were basically ousted and booted from all the other 85 sectors of not Germany and pushed into Sector 86. You know, it was a case of getting ratted on. Right, you know, it's like, you know, that person over there, they're not of this one race, therefore they, you know, and you actually get to see humans. Exactly, right, and you actually see both sides of the story. You see the victim tell their side of the story, and then you find the perpetrator, what's it called,
the
instigator actually tell their side of the story, and they really break down after it's discovered, you know, like after they've been ousted, and it's brilliant. I absolutely, you know, it's such an amazing motivator for the whole narrative, and you know, basically I think the lifespan of a processor is 1 year, right? And if they manage to, they're promised that if they do their service for their country, after 1 year, they're basically let back into sectors 1 through 85. But
of course, that's a lie.
It is a lie because their last mission
against odds.
Yeah, their last mission is like, you know, no, these are sacrificial.
Yeah,
it's but. Again, it's absolutely brilliant. If you haven't watched 86, I do highly recommend it. I warn you. I warn everyone.
When I'm seeing like armies of these spider bot type things marching into the city, those are all people.
It depends on which ones they are. So, hold on. Just to clarify.
Go ahead.
Hold on. So the warning is Part 2 does get slow. They did have a lot of complications in the production of Part 2 because this is around, like, you know, pandemic was getting bad in Japan and things like this. So, you know, be mindful of the problems that the series has. So many delays in the show. So there's two types of machines in the first half of the series. So in the first half, you have basically the silver, really shiny, really angular designed ones.
Yeah.
Those are the AI-driven ones, right?
Okay. All right.
They're the enemy, right? Gotcha. They're from not Russia.
Right? Okay.
But interestingly enough, the second half of the series takes place in not Russia, and it's really interesting to see like how the whole thing's developed. So it's a very, very good series, and I do highly recommend it. So yeah, and again, it's a brilliant way of looking at death of characters, because watching how the handler reacts and things like this. Again, she at one point in time she takes control of the entire army. She's supposed to only handle one platoon. She takes control of the whole army because the other handlers are just they don't care, and they're just sacrificing units when they shouldn't be. It's it's absolutely brilliant. I love it. It's an absolutely amazing series and handles it so well. So, where do you guys want to go now?
Well, sorry, Thaylien, did you have anything? Because otherwise I was going to ask Thaylien, Well, I was going to ask Zeno about the other one that I'm curious on this list about, why you put Steins Gate on.
Okay, right. So I opted to put Steins Gate on here because the whole motivation of shit, what's his name?
I can't remember his name either. I keep wanting to say Homura, but that's not right. Hyolyn.
Hyoma Kyojin. That was it.
Hyoma Kyojin. Yes.
Yeah. So, because it's such a ridiculous name. But anyway, the whole point of Hyoma's motivation is to prevent death, right? He keeps on. There's another series that actually kind of ties in similar to this, which is ReZero. But the whole point is he keeps on suffering the psychological distress of going through watching his friends die, right? Again and again and again. And he keeps on trying to work out how to undo it, right? What will it take to
once and for all get back to a timeline that's not screwed up?
Yeah, he keeps on trying to undo basically the mistakes of him fucking around with time travel to keep his friends safe, right? And it's his childhood friend, and then when he eventually does keep them, when he does succeed in saving them, the next port of call is then how does he save the first person that effectively their death caused the whole thing, right? So again, it's the psychological distress of the whole problem going back. And
you would say this is a case where people coming back to life isn't done cheaply because he's suffering because of it.
Yes.
Every time he brings somebody back, he suffers something new in response.
It's more a case of every single time he tries to bring someone back, because he doesn't always. And again, there's the whole like people doubting him, right? Because they can only go as far back as they actually got it working, if memory serves. So they could only go as far back as the first text message that they sent, and it's not a lot of time for them to work on, sort of thing. So it's such the psychological distress. So where we would love to see Shield Hero actually respond properly to Ost's death, we see the psychological distress that Hyoin goes through every single time he watches his friends die. And that's why I put this on this list, because this is just this is how you do it.
I kind of want to.
There is one other.
Oh, okay. Well, you go first, Thaylien.
Well, I think it's where we really should go when we're dealing with character death in this particular show, and that's Cyberpunk.
Okay.
Okay. Before we talk about that, can I talk quickly about Eden Zero, which I can't seem to find.
Is it on here? Do we have it?
Yeah, it's this one. It's this one.
Okay.
Because I feel like why did I hit that? I feel like this does something similar. At least it tried. I haven't. No.
Camera angle.
Yes. Admittedly, I haven't watched the second half of season 2, but we talked about the first half, and I think it tries to do something similar in that we see her reacting to these other characters' death, and she carries that psychological trauma forward with her. But I think on the other hand, I think it's going to go the Dragon Ball Z route, where death suddenly becomes cheap because she's got this ability to reset time. So the first one had a lot of impact and was very, very much on trying to be on Steins Gate's level. But I think it's going to just completely lose all of that. It's like, I had something good here. I'm done with you. I don't want to play with you anymore.
Well, like, I kind of feel that... I kind of feel like it's... If there was... every single time they did it... that character was put through such pain and agony, right?
But I think the fact that she knows she can just easily reset it is going to remove all of that, all the teeth in that for her.
But yeah, so basically they need to put... Realistically, a show like this needs to have teeth, right? Yeah. So it's a case of, like, you know, imagine Dragon Ball, right? That they... yeah, they could be resurrected. That's not a problem. But every single time, that they do, they basically have to go through 100 years of experiencing their own death, right? You know, or 1,000 years or millennia of experiencing their own death in an instant, right? But to them, it's not, right? To them, it's like, yeah, I've just gone through 100 years of experiencing, but, like, you know, you know, do they really want to go through that to come back?
Or maybe every time they do it, they lose a little bit of their own humanity, or, you know, something that leaves a scar on them.
Yeah.
Anyway, Thaylien, you wanted to talk about?
Well,
Cyberpunk.
This is the ultimate compilation of the audience and the characters feeling the pain of death. Because
I still can't listen to that song.
Is made to hurt.
Yeah.
It's made to be that grimdark that you don't get a really happy ending out of. You just get the ending.
Well, because I think it's partly because it builds these characters up and it makes you think. It tricks you into thinking you're going to be in a slightly dark but mostly fun adventure, and then it just it hits you, and then it doesn't stop hitting you.
Do you remember the comment I made a little while back about when we were talking about narrative ideas for making things actually darker? And it was that I said that a character, if they're going to die, if you want the audience to hurt, they should die before they resolve their character arc.
Yeah.
And they should die presumably fighting, proverbially fighting, not literally fighting always, the thing that is in their way to resolving their character arc. And this is one of those ones. This is the show that does that so much, because you get so many deaths in this where the characters have not finished their story. They go out because of their story being interrupted. So the very first one we see is the leader of the Edgerunners going cyber psycho.
No, it's not.
Is it not?
No,
no, it's not. No, so the very first death we actually see, yes, you're right, is of course their hacker with giant hands, Rebecca's older brother, who literally they're on a high from having done so many good jobs recently, and he just gets his head blown off in the middle of the street, basically. And there is no resolution to his story. We don't see the interactions he could have had. We don't see any progression of him as a character beyond the little bits of information we find out up to that point. We see him developing. We see that he's a bit of a creep, but he enjoys entertaining the crowd. He has all of this potential, and when he's on the high of jobs well done, and being arguably the best that their group has been up till that point, he's killed, and every single character reacts differently. You know, Rebecca goes charging in, guns blazing, because nobody gets to kill that guy but her. You know, and the others die for cover because they know that this guy is dangerous. He's a cyber psycho. He's going to attack them. Rebecca goes in to try for a hack but gets pinned down, and David has to be knocked right out of whatever fugue he's in so that he can actually go and do something about it. But every other one, the leader, his girlfriend, being taken out together, the different, even the insignificant members of when it becomes David's group, the new guy, you don't get to appreciate him really as a character. You get to appreciate him almost as a trope.
Yeah.
This is the ultimate thing of the audience doesn't know him, the characters don't know him, and he's dead.
Yeah.
And you can see the difference in his death compared to everybody else's because he means nothing, and his death means nothing.
Yeah.
They shrug and move on, but every other one hurts. We see Rebecca go through her arc of trying to, you know, get into a relationship she doesn't really have a hope of getting into, and then just fully giving that first step into committing to being just a better person to them, to Lucy and to David. But the moment she starts that redemption almost for her character, she's taken out in the cruelest way that we could have taken her out. Even the main character of the show does not survive the show because it's supposed to, because he instead of chasing his dream, he made his dream fulfilling somebody else's.
Yeah.
It's so rare for fictional works these days that make it to like television to really have the guts to go the full tragedy route.
Yes.
And I kind of feel that that's a missed opportunity in terms of media, right? Because like I don't think there's anyone that would say that when Cyberpunk came out, it wasn't anime of the year, right? When this came out, it was just, holy crap, this was amazing, right? Well, I mean, I think the month it came out, I watched it 3 times because I was just so captivated by it.
The month it came out, I couldn't play the game because that song would come on the radio.
Oh God.
But the when I found out what channel it was on in the game, I was just like, and now I have this on permanently, waiting for that song to come on. And what's that? I've got a mission over there. Too late. The song's just started. I'm going for a little drive. I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Gonna have a drive and a cry, and, you know.
Yeah, but the to be honest, a lot of people may think to themselves like, what's the desire in experiencing, you know, such tragedy and things like this? But like, catharsis. To me personally, no, it's to make it feel real. It's to make it feel like, you know, life isn't all ups, right? And having the balance of ups and downs is
nice
what
to
makes
know that sometimes the good guy doesn't win. You know?
Yeah.
I'm sick of always watching stuff where I know the good guy's gonna win because they're the good guy. Yeah. You know? I mean, I shouldn't say I'm sick of it, but it's nice to have that variety. It gets too predictable otherwise.
It's like plot armor. Fucking plot armor. It's just like, you know.
Yeah.
Plot armor, Mr. Frodo. Plot armor.
So I always point out, this is the thing that separates good endings from the right ending.
Yeah.
Also good character deaths from just your average
bad characters. Yes.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, because Lucy's story, this whole show is Lucy's story, but it's told from David's perspective. And we know that she went through the tragedy in the first place. She found herself a little found family, and then she had one dream that was selfish to herself, just the one thing that she thought, yeah, if I can do that, then I'll have achieved something in my life that I wouldn't have been able to do.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And even the happiness of having achieved her dream is still colored. I'm not going to say tainted, it's colored by the tragedy. And I think that is something people can relate to hard. That even when you do something, there can be people you've lost along the way. Whether that's through death or through separation or anything else, people can relate to that loss and finding happiness in a sense, but at the cost of what came before. And that makes it the right ending. Not necessarily happy ending, but it's the right one for this story.
I'm looking at our list. Sorry, Zeno, do you want to? Do you have something?
No.
What
are you thinking?
I'm looking at our list, and I really only see 3 examples, maybe 4, of a real honest to god tragedy. Aside from Cyberpunk. So we've got Berserk, which I would say definitely fits. And also has really good character deaths. Maybe the Guyver, but I don't know because it's mostly hopeful in the end, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll say that works. The Helk, which I may not end up as a tragedy. I don't know, but it definitely has a very tragic arc, which we're not going to get into here because spoilers, and we'll review that later. And then the last one is Maiden Abyss. But I'm not sure Maiden Abyss counts because
it does.
There's never really any good part. It's all kind of a slow slide into
no.
horror.
No. Right? Yeah, it was a slow slide. Slow slide into horror. Right? I agree with you, but there was plenty of hope in the start, man. Right?
Fair enough.
You know, when she got to like layer 3, I was just like,
everything still had hunky-dory and fine and happy. Yeah, no problems here.
And then she hit, was it layer 4? It was just like, oh.
By the way, we're cutting off your hand now.
Shit.
Actually, they didn't cut off her hand, but they came close. That's right.
Yeah, but anyway, so, again, I think other honourable mentions of ways to do death right is Demon Slayer, the Mugen Train movie. Please watch the movie, not the series arc. God, is there anything else I wanted to highlight?
I wanted to highlight the way that Isekai actually seems to cheapen death in a sense, but then good Isekai can bring back that fear and sense of what it is to die.
Like Saga of Tanya the Evil. Oh, well, sure, yeah.
Yes, even Saga of Tanya the Evil, but I was going to say Mushoku Tensei, because in this show, the reincarnation is largely a happy thing. He goes from being miserable to having a family and growing up and happy. But then it does take that away completely. The grand teleportation makes him believe that his family could be dead. And then when he's on his journey, they encounter the dragon god, who nearly straight up kills him. And
I think you find he did.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
100%.
It's the fact is, it's not the full death that caused him to isekai in the first place, and so it brings back that fear of death, that actual thing of, oh no, I might not get through any of this. Compared to so many other isekai where the protagonist just la-di-dahs his way through the fucking world and has absolutely no care for his own mortality.
See, I think Tanya is actually a better example because should I move over that one?
I'll get it.
You're on it.
I'll get it.
So in that one, which I thank you, Xeno, for making me watch that.
Yeah.
Being X, which is what Tanya calls God, is actively working against her, right? So, first off, he sent her here, and as well him, whatever, her now.
Yeah.
Sent her here, and said, okay, you've got one more chance. After that, you're taken out of the reincarnation pool. Everyone else gets to be reincarnated, not you. And so that, but then, because she's doing so well, it's not enough to just let her survive. Now he's got to start actively working against her and trying to kill her. And it's just like, wow, this show has the guts to really say, yeah, just because you've been isekai doesn't mean you got things easy. And I love that about it. Oh man, it's the threat of death is constant, even though she's really good and you know she's gonna make it because hero. There's at least the possibility there. There's the intention to try and kill her, and I love that.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's one of those. It is one of those shows where she's fearing at all times.
Yeah.
Death, but also she's also defiant of it.
I mean,
Rubius,
it's
as a contrast, he just straight up fears it. It is death. It is the end for him. Again, even though the first one wasn't his end, but he also knows that people around him can die, can be taken from him.
Whereas Tanya doesn't have those connections.
Out of his control.
Yeah,
Tanya doesn't.
I think one side to put to Mushoku Tensei is also, I'm pretty sure the man god that ends up conversing with Rudy many times throughout the series is not the one that isekai'd him there. The man god doesn't know how he got there. It's just the man god basically found him and then started chin wagging and shit.
At least is unwilling to say anything if he does know.
So yeah, it's like
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Somebody interesting.
Yeah, I think the conclusion of this discussion is the fact that
what did we
character
learn?
deaths are important. Yeah, character deaths are important. Don't cheapen them. Don't make it like, oh, they can yo-yo back and forth. Don't treat your audience like
babies.
You know,
like kids.
Yeah. Don't treat your audience like 4 kids. They're going to encounter death at some point in their lives, and having narratives where the good guy doesn't win is also great. You know,
and
it's
powerful and help us appreciate the other shows where the good guy does win.
It's also an important life lesson. The good guy doesn't always win.
Right. With that being said, and the time getting on, shall we move on to the rest of the show?
Absolutely.
Let's do some supporter questions, shall we?
Cool. Right. So, supporter questions. Dun dun dun. Okay. Ooh, Jesus. Okay. Zrugel says, did you enjoy this episode? Well, there is one quick, easy, and surefire way to let us know. Hit the like button and leave a comment for us down below. We do read them all. They do. Do they always get in the responses, or
what?
We do highlight them when they
comments.
When they have some.
Yeah.
Interesting
Do we
things to say.
do we put all the comments in, or do we just?
Sometimes I'll selectively take bits that aren't very, like,
Sure.
It's just like, oh, I liked the show, or it's just random thing. I try to take the most in, but I mean, if you comment, I'll take at least something from that comment. Your name will be on screen,
Sure.
or be said on screen,
Sure.
be said on air,
Right.
not on screen.
Moving
God,
on.
I'm just gonna stop and let Xeno keep going. There you go.
Right. Zrugel asks, have you noticed cooking become more of a common thing in anime lately? If so, Do you think that we just noticed it more, or it's actually becoming more prevalent, cooking in anime?
I think it's becoming more prevalent.
I think as a theme, it's becoming more prevalent because somebody found that it's another unexplored avenue that they haven't gone down. All anime these days needs a catch in some way. And so campfire cooking, delicious in dungeon, they're coming about because somebody's got, oh yeah, we haven't done
as an
with cooking, and so several people have come up with the same idea.
As its own individual genre, no, but as a as a driving element to a show, yes. Yeah, that's my take on it.
Like, right, I think you've probably seen lots of moments in a show where somebody's prepared food, but it's never really been, it's just been like, oh, this is just a part of their day. It's never been, this is the driving force. Rarely.
The point where we see, where the anime creators suddenly realize that Nobita Isekai is a cat girl, and then we'll see like 5 of them in a season.
Yeah.
Isekai as a pork steak on a delicious meal. In a delicious meal.
Oh yes, bite me, daddy, I've been a bad steak.
Anyway, so Rikyus asks, like and subscribe, and you can also donate money to the Patreon, which is where Xeno has to turn over all of the money he makes there, and often more to the editors. So if you like the editor more than Xeno, remember to donate. Fuck you. If you want to boost Xeno's ego, donate.
You Rikyus.
That's Nasuth. If you think Xeno is always wrong, donate. If you think Thaylien's voice is something you want to hear on a cold winter's night reading something sensual by a fireplace, donate. On to Rikyus's question. Rikyus asks, for the listeners, why haven't you given to the Patreon yet? Jesus Christ, okay. Remember, this is not right. Rikyus did, and forced whoever is reading all of this to to read. Wait, hold on. Whoever Rikyus did, and forced whoever is reading all of this out loud to you to say the things you have to hear right now. Don't you want that possibility of abuse of power too? ? If you said yes, all you have to do is go to the patreon.com/Xenogelion and give the International Xenogelion, why are there 2 L's there, of Mystery some of that sweet cash, and then join his Discord. If you've already joined the Discord, we will give you the role. It's only a matter of time before you two can get them to go on a long-winded rant about One Piece's inability to succeed against Goku in a hairstyle competition, and espouse incorrect commentary about Xeno's love for. But I digress. What's the highest quality anime so far this year? Dear fucking God.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not
the endings. The ending's a little rough, but I think it's overall probably one of the best of the year.
I'll tell you, on just to fill in, Rikyus, we love you. We do.
Don't do that
Xeno
again.
hates his job right now, but we love him.
Let's bring back the weird font styles, shall we? No.
Sorry, this year specifically.
That's mean to Xeno.
I'm just having a quick flick through this year.
Yeah, that's the other problem, is I don't remember exactly what it came out this year. Possibly also Mushoku Tensei, because that's still always really high quality. Even if I didn't like season 2 as much.
Frieren.
See, that's where I'm landing. Oh yeah.
Undead Unluck's also really good, but I don't know if it's good, if it's amazing levels, you know.
Yeah, I think I gotta say Frieren. Yeah.
Oh, Apothecary Diary is also really quality. Really, really quality.
Yeah, but It is, but I feel like Freeran's got the luxury to do more with it, especially with the combat and stuff like that.
Fair
it's
enough.
like they spent all the budget, right? They, you know, what the budget was available to Jujutsu Kaisen, they spent that budget too. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd say Freeran. Anyway, so then Reincarnated as Nasuth asks, my cat's breath smells like cat food. What does anime cat girl's breath smell like? Anime cat girl food.
It's not what I wrote, but okay, sure.
I know, I'm sticking with it though.
Anime cat food.
Anime cat girl food. Right. So, going on to the comments. So first off, the news. Strummer Shell says, the DDR Mini is way smaller than I thought it would be. More like DDR Nano. True facts. I have a cat on my shoulder right now. How's your cat, Nasuth?
He just came up to eat. He's doing good. He's doing good.
Alright. And my cat is being a bastard.
Yeah.
Alright. Yep. 7 a.m. every fucking morning he yowls outside my my door like a freight train. And then I open the door. I open the door and he fucks. Well, because I don't have to be awake at 7 a.m. on a Sunday.
He just wants to check on you. He wants to make sure you're all right.
You have to be awake at 7 a.m. for the cat.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
anyway,
how do you not know this?
Moving on, and Stromers also says the fact checking bit was kind of cool. That could be a true or false episode of Kanpai Cast.
That could be.
Yeah.
Fact or rumor.
It could be. Yep. Right, so Zrugel says, when you said $800 for the even Gen Lion part, I honestly thought that wasn't so bad. But then I realized you said motherboard and not graphics card. Yeah, that's a lot. It really is hell of a lot for a fucking motherboard. Oh, cool, a Golden Kamuy live action. That's cool. I really got into the anime for a while, but stopped when it went on hiatus. Yeah, I need to... I still need to watch the last season because I just, yeah. Wow, another phone game closing and nobody was surprised. True facts. I appreciate the new fact or fiction segment. Right? Woo-hoo. And now, moving on to the comments from the cast. Right, so, Zrugel says, Xeno watches Instagram. Confirmed. I do. I genuinely do. I have a question. If you guys are disagreeing with some of the things on this list, where did the list come from?
So I fully. So we were talking about not the hero's journey. What was it last week? Urban fantasy.
Yes.
And I just found a list from some writing website that was like, oh, here's the things that urban fantasy stuff needs, and I looked at a few of them, and they were all kind of the same, and yeah, I googled. I binged it.
Yeah.
Right. The benefit of having a teachable MC is that the audience needs to have things explained too. That is very true. I'll be honest, I'm not completely following what we're talking about. So these are shows that may or may not be classified as urban fantasy. This seems pretty subjective, and that's okay. But it took me a while to figure out why we were talking about this.
So I think I replied to Zrugel with this, but I think part of the value of episodes like that and the hero's journey and this one even is that we're kind of coming up with our own definition. You know, what works, what doesn't, you know, that's kind of why at the end we've had these what have we learned that, you know, bits where it's like, this is everything that we've put together from this discussion. And so I think in some ways it's us struggling to find that answer. I don't know if that's valuable to other people or not, honestly, but I hope it is.
We are watchers of anime just like the rest of you. Or maybe not like the rest of you, considering some of you may be way more committed, some may way less. But the whole journey that we're going on this podcast is to make sure that we are discussing topics that come up in the shows and how anime handles them. So in the case of urban fantasy, what really is that? What role does it play as a setting, and how do we interpret it among ourselves? And what can we learn from it as a setting in a show? What value does it hold?
Yeah.
So we're hoping
if you went out and Googled, you know, Yeah. If you went out and Googled what is an urban fantasy, would you agree with it, or would you, have to come up with, work through and find definitions of your own sort of thing? And yeah, it may not be your cup of tea. That's fine. That's totally cool.
Moving on to the rest of the comments, Zrugal also says, I generally like urban fantasies, like My Happy Marriage. I was kind of let down by the ending, but mostly liked it.
But I didn't finish that one if the ending was bad.
Yep. Strombus Shell says, I think your criteria list was too broad. It was too open to include so many different things. Not that I have a problem with the anime you mentioned, just that a series doesn't have to only be urban and fantasy to be an urban fantasy. I'd love to know what other things that they felt fell into the category. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid should be on that list. Bad Xeno. Gets squirty bottle. It's an urban setting and it has dragons. Case closed. Fuck off. How about
Xeno on this one?
Yeah, I kind of am too. Yeah.
Me, and I dare you to do it.
How about Call of the Night? It was a literal show about
little slow.
the main vampire. So it was a little slow. To be honest, I couldn't finish Call of the Night. I know people have ranted and raved about the manga and things like that, but I just couldn't finish the show. I was so bored.
But would you consider what you watched of it to be an urban fantasy? Does it take place in a city, and is the focus about the magic in that, it taking place?
There's no magic.
What is that?
It's a vampire.
Magic. Oh, well, the vampires count.
There is
urban horror and urban fantasy.
No dragons. No, it was just.
What was our criteria? It had to be like part of the world, but not necessarily visible to the world. Bunch of other stuff like that. Yeah, I can't remember now.
Yeah. What's it called?
Death Note.
But Death Note, I know Xeno hates it, but it counts. Did I say?
Yeah.
No?
I don't think we mentioned.
No, you hate Death Note, but I don't think we mentioned it as a.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that is
what about?
one, but,
yeah.
What about Chainsaw Man? I didn't watch it, but I feel like it might fit.
Yeah,
100%.
Chainsaw
Man.
100%. It's got demons. It's got
it
pervades the whole world. It's I'd say it fits.
Yep. Okay, and yep. Yeah, there you go. That's what the devils. But I mean,
I think the problem with that one, it does come to be that if we include Chainsaw Man, that we do have to include Devil May Cry Baby. So it's up to you guys. Would you really want it on the same list?
Right. So let's move on to the memes. All the memes come from Reddit. We've got memes submitted by you guys, which you can do on the Discord. They get pulled weekly, and so let's get into the memes.
Right, we've got
this time, don't we?
Yeah, we got 4 viewer memes, and also I've got a spicy meme.
Oh, he does,
right.
Does he?
So meme number 1. Meme number 1. Hello.
Uh-oh.
Wow, none of these are coming up. Hang on.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Wait. I bet I know what's happened. Aha! Shoot, where are memes? There we go. Right, so the actual meme number 1.
Can we? Yeah, there we go.
Oh my god.
Grand Theft Auto.
Oh my god.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6. The 6th part of a famous franchise. The 6th part of a famous franchise. Took longer to release when compared to the parts that came before. Has a hot female protagonist. The female protagonist is apparently arrested by mistake. Takes place in Florida. Not a lot. The universe resets at the end.
So will Grand Theft Auto reset their universe?
Lol.
It's just a JoJo reference. That's what it is. Grand Theft Auto 6 is a JoJo reference.
Yep.
Yep.
Right. Viewer 2? Oh my god!
Adorable.
That's amazing.
I wonder if that was on purpose. I hope so.
Oh, it definitely was.
Oh. I need to watch the series.
Happy birthday, Trunks! I've got a surprise for you! Wow, thanks, Mom! What is it? You will see. Vegeta, come here! People of planet Earth, lend me your energy!
Lend me your energy.
I told you to dress up as a clown!
I did. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Great. That is
brilliant.
Amazing.
Love that. Brilliant.
Right. So my first meme. So this is all the anime from the fall season, and only these two are going on into the winter core.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I can't. Well, okay. To be fair, Jujutsu Kaisen started in the summer season, so
yeah, that's true. That is true. Right.
Okay.
Manga, anime, live action, live adaptation.
What the?
It's water.
Oh my god.
It's a hose.
Oh no.
Do you also have this one?
No.
Okay, good.
It's just the chewing
Oh, the
noise.
chewing! Oh, you're right. I'll try to mute that section. Actually, let me quickly just highlight that. I have to find where the memes button is because I'm blind. Okay, there we go. Right. Meme number 4. Don't you think camera angles could be a little weird? What do you mean? Dino, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
American yokels and hillbillies? Japanese yokels and hillbillies.
Oh my god.
Oh.
I don't think he knows what he put up there, but okay.
I hope not.
Sweet home Alabama.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of what I figured. Right, and my last one is the actual spicy one.
The spicy one. I saw this one. Yep. Good choice. Good choice.
You can put anything top right. I just love that. That format.
Yep, that is a really good format. I like that format. Yep. All right, so Thaylien's first meme.
Again.
Oh god, this one. Yep.
Well, okay, what? Like, there was a huge, like, it was last week. There was a huge meme tirade of this actor, like, fucking what happened? What was it?
No idea.
Just another one of those that
it was just a thing.
And just every single meme is that one.
Okay, it was just a thing.
It's like the old "You're finally awake from Skyrim."
Okay. Oh yes.
Let them know I'm an adult man trapped in this body.
Oh my god.
Commit genocide, kill God. Commit genocide, kill God. Commit genocide, kill God.
It's really perfect that we talked about her today, then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Live action adaptation.
No.
Oof.
Passes off.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And your final one.
Revolution is dead.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my
Chainsaw
goodness.
Washington.
Yeah. Right.
That was
my
so
first
bad
one
for me too. Jeez.
You're a dog person. I'm a dog person. We're not the same.
A lot of chainsaw memes this week, huh?
Yeah. But can he or she beat Goku? Toxic Dragon Ball fans. But can he/she beat your worthy successor? Toxic Spy Family fans. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What? There's a new otaku store? Wait, I need to rob a bank first.
Oh no. Oh dear.
Well done.
Oh Oh dear.
That song plays when Shinji uses his Bankai.
Okay.
Well done.
I can't take this long distance relationship anymore. Fridge, you're coming to my room. And then last but not least, you're next. It's your turn. You got GTA 6
Yeah.
and then No Game
Finally
No
came
Life.
out. And
Yeah,
then,
that's
season 2.
Xeno, that's not gonna happen. Xeno.
I can dream.
Silly.
Dream, Nasuth. We can dream.
I can dream.
Silly
I
boy.
dream. Dreaming.
Silly.
Ultimate dreaming mode. Right. So that's it for this week's episode. Thanks everyone for watching / listening, and now it's time to bottoms up and Kanpai.
Bye.